So the idea here is basically that we can shove some more interesting stuff in here. We have friends and rivals, we have marriage ties, that's, in-laws, and we could have lovers here as well. And we've actually added support for more than one lover to create some more drama in the game.
Can you have like love triangles and things like that? Is that possible?
Well, not yet, because we haven't done anything with those events or anything. But it does make the or open up the possibility that we can.
It is a medieval soap opera after all.
After all, yes.
With slightly more stabbing.
I always wanted to do more with the friends and rival system, where you have your little crew, your posse, basically your friends that you got hunting.
Your little entourage.
Yes, your entourage.
So how does that impact, say, a hunting event? Say if you're going to go, you are in the, let's say if you are just a standard duke in Europe, for instance, and you have a hunting event, do your friends come with you on the hunt, or is it just the random people in your court?
Well, what I'm talking about now is speculative, right?
No, of course.
It's what I would like to do, but yes, something like that. You would invite friends, and they would go with you.
All right, that sounds good.
Here's another little thing that we did along the same lines, by the way, now that we're talking about the UI.
Mm-hmm.
When people are killed by other people, you see on the little skull who murdered them or killed them.
Somebody wants a tetrahedron.
Tetrahedron.
Tetrahedron also.
Oh, I love tetrahedron. Yeah. It's like, D12 or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, well...
murderers.
Right, murderers. Yeah. So what always annoyed me was that you would see the name of the murderer, but you wouldn't always be quite sure who it was anyway. So we made these cases where someone is killed by someone. If it's in a duel or battle or murder or whatever, they're now red, and you can click on them, and the game will just go to the killer. And that's another little side. It's neat. It's not really necessary, but it makes these stories more accessible and interesting.
It's also interesting does that appear with any character that has murdered any of their siblings or any of their family members,
it's
like Kinslayers?
It's on the dead guy. There's a skull on the dead guy
saying that he was murdered by somebody.
Yeah, and then you can click it and see who it was.
That's clever. So it makes so basically, if somebody murders your preferable heir, you know whose family to completely murder in order to get back at them.
Or it's easier for you, because we already told you. We added the death reasons in a previous patch.
Right. It's more of a visual thing.
Yeah, so it's just one of those little details.
All right. So we got we actually managed to talk about heir designation for a good 10 minutes there. That's we're well on schedule there.
Okay, let's move on.
That's good. All right, so jungle, war elephants, and the new tactic system as well as special units.
Right. Well, I could go into great length about the special unit system, but basically...
I like the wizard's comment you made, that was made in the actual... that Grugi made in his death diary.
Yeah, exactly. So, but basically what we've done is that we've removed the horse archer unit type, and we replaced it with basically any kind of unit type that you can now script. So this is for modders. So if you want a new unit type...
If you want wizards...
Yeah, it's like, walrus riders or whatever. You could actually add that.
I'm sorry, what did you do to Henrik, and why is Don sitting here all of a sudden?
Yeah, no, I mentioned that because Don keeps talking about it.
Yeah, no, he's obsessed with polar bears for some bizarre reason.
He wants to weaponize animals, and how weird is that?
Well, we have elephants in the game.
Yeah, that's actually good point.
Just saying, this was a very subtle interlude into elephants, by the way, just saying.
Yes. Right, so war elephants. They're basically like super heavy cavalry, and in order to employ them, we needed to add some special battle tactics or combat tactics for them to use. So that's what we've done, basically. You don't have them in great numbers, but they're extremely powerful.
Like 3 or 4?
Well, maybe 10 or 20, but 100 would be the price of a nation, basically. So I'm not sure what else to say about that.
Do they impact morale? Let's say they are on the field.
Yes, they have a unit tactic that is kind of stampede.
Right.
And that does affect morale, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's say any of the cultures within within the Indian subcontinent don't get affected by the morale. But let's say if you are a Western European guy and all of a sudden these towering animals come storming at you, one would assume that would impact the morale ever so slightly.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I mean, of course. So it's a very powerful unit type, and it's most suitable to India and the Indian terrain types, basically.
At this time, the Indian elephant had a much wider range than it had today, and I think it had 3 extra different subspecies as well spread out over. Yeah, that was at the time when there were still African elephants in the Sahara, I think, as well. Right. So it's slouching around.
Yeah, the African elephants are quite different, though.
Fun fact: when the pyramids were built, there were still woolly mammoths.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
A little island off the coast of Kamchatka.
All right.
They were dwarf elephants.
All right.
Just like the Egyptians, they had dwarf elephants as well. They were from Malta.
That's almost like yesterday.
Clearly. To be fair, though, there's less time between us and Cleopatra than between Cleopatra and building the pyramids.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Time is but a construct. So
that messes with my mind.
I know, right? Awesome. Meanwhile, we just can we show some elephants? I don't know if you got any money to get the unit type. Well, now you do.
Well, let's see if I can just.
No, woolly mammoths did not build the pyramids.
Is that what someone heard? Yeah. Well. Yeah. Let's see here. Military retinues. No. It should actually show the elephants here. Maybe if I reinforce it a little bit.
There it is.
There it is.
There's the model. That's so pretty.
Here is a war elephant. I actually gave the guys who made the war elephant some criticism on the rider.
He's very... Why is he standing?
No, he looks a bit strange. So that's going to be worked on. But that's a war elephant. As it currently appears in the game.
Does this mean that we're also going to see things like camel riders and things like that?
Yes. We're actually adding kind of Mamluk camel riders at the same time. Just for free. Just because we love you guys.
Because we're cool dudes and we like you.
So, yeah, horse archers and camel riders and war elephants are the 3 special unit types. Basically.
What sort of, looking, like, once again, back to the elephants, what sort of stats do they have when it comes to their combat ability and things like that? Like, how powerful are they, like, comparatively?
They are powerful, let's put it like that. They're probably something like 4 times a night.
4 times a night.
Or, yeah, well, no, 10 times. Yeah, I don't have the exact figures actually.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to see the actual attack values as soon as you throw it.
I don't know this off the top of my head really. But yeah, they're super nice.
And there's 27 of them.
Yeah, at the moment.
At the moment there is. That looks good. All right, so swiftly moving on. Elephants are cool. The new tactics. Did we discuss the new tactics system already?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Indian festivals and events. Now, we already had a Dev Diary about events in particular. However, there is a significant new amount of events added to the characters as well as the intrigue menu because there's a whole bunch of cool new stuff, including something involving tigers.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff. You know, the tiger hunt. You have Diwali feast, which is a kind of I don't know what to call it. It's the equivalent of Yule that in the game. It's not actually the equivalent of Yule in reality, but it's one of the important feasts that they have.
And then you can also have the cult specific or the patron god specific event feasts.
Yeah, there's stuff like that, and there's going in search of a guru to gain enlightenment, and these are decisions. But then there are also all kinds of random events in the game. As you would expect, you probably, if you compare it to the old gods, it's probably a similar amount.
So, tell me more about this mythical land of reincarnation.
Well, reincarnation is, as you can see up here, piety is now called karma.
I like the Dharmic wheel. It's very.
Yes, it's the Dharmic knot, or the karmic knot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been watching a lot of Lost, and they call it a Dharmic wheel. There.
No, you mean
the wheel? No,
the wheel.
I can't see it from here. It's on another screen. It's about 2 meters away from me.
That's generally a symbol of Buddhism. I think,
is it?
If that's the one you.
That's probably it. Look at the Pope hat. He's got a Pope hat, but it's once again, guys, it's in beta.
Yeah, actually, these portraits are all wrong as well, because they're going to get unique Indian portraits of the Indian cultures.
So like we said before, guys, whatever you're seeing right here is all in beta. It's not done yet, not by a law. So
yeah, no, karma. Piety is called karma. Actually, it's called purity. I think one of my guys has been doing something here. Yeah, I think he decided that the giants should have purity instead of karma, which is fine, I guess. It's fascinating what I learned that the team has been doing. Now, that's kind of flavor things. So we now have the ability to call piety different things for different religions. And reincarnation is basically a number of events that I've been writing mostly that features basically a child being born with, or speaking of the previous life, maybe having birthmarks that match the wounds or birthmark of a dead character. And some gameplay mechanics around that, in that you can choose to acknowledge this as a new reincarnation of your grandfather or whoever, in which case he will tend to pick up the traits and attributes of that person.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not actually saying whether that's the case, but you know, there's an argument to be made that if someone treats you like a certain person,
then they will probably turn into that certain person.
Yeah, so we're not really going into the metaphysical stuff too deeply, but it does give you the ability to kind of match the values of this previous character.
On a completely different note, if you zoom in there on the river you have right there, can you sail up that river?
You can potentially if you're Norse. But then you'd have to get there.
Exactly. Longboats on the Tigris and the Euphrates and the Ganges.
These rivers are major, not mainly for that reason, but because they should be major rivers, and you know, both visually and realistically. And also, we could potentially have a major river crossing penalty for attacking a crossing.
Oh, okay. Rather than the standard small river crossing, you can have literally like major rivers.
Right. So I mean, it's kind of a lot of work to add major rivers to the map with all the little crossings that you have to script in and so on. So we figured we might as well do that.
Mm-hmm. So some people are asking about this. The Unified Revolt system, which was talked about today as well in the Death Diary. Tell us more about that, because the Revolt system is being deepened out significantly within the scope of the game.
It has, yes. And this is another of the things that Wiz strived for, at least in his mod, you know, CK2+.
When he's not working on Skynet, this is what he works on.
Exactly, you know, before we hired the guy. Yes. And it's basically something he's been pushing for and that I like, and that's that factions that rise up in revolt should be more unified and present, you know, a stronger front. Mm-hmm. So what happens is the faction leader gets a temporary title that matches the tier of his liege. So if I'm a duke in Sweden and I rise up, I will actually be kind of a temporary king, and the other faction members will be my vassals.
Right.
So it will be one country, a civil war, side in the war.
Does that mean that you will get the title the usurper or anything along those lines?
No, there's nothing like that. It's mostly for gameplay reasons that, you know, you want the AI to be more coherent and be able to attack you with all its forces and so on, and bring to bear everything it can. So yeah, it's a cool system. It works really well.
It makes the enemy more stronger, and it gives you an even more fulfilled feeling once you crush those rebels.
Yeah, it's also easier to control when you're the faction leader. And lastly, I think, and this is kind of just as important, other countries tended to attack these little revolting states, basically.
Oh, to nab just a
rebels,
little,
yeah, to try and take them out. And that's much harder now that they are actually fairly powerful, usually.
So growing becomes more difficult in this particular state. I saw that you moved Zoroastrians around a little bit. There's more Zoroastrians on the map now. Oh, look at that. Because there's more territory for them to live in.
I think it's because we just added more provinces around here. You know, the map border used to be around here somewhere. So we added a few provinces to the east, and some of them should, be Zoroastrian or something similar.
For the glory of Mahura Mazda.